Hello, Superboy Beyond fans. Welcome back. It's your ever-loving hosts, Chris and Tom. Uh, we're going to go back into one of our commentaries today. We're going to do a Season 3 episode, and this will be The People versus Metallo. So this will be the first time we're actually doing a clip show commentary.
Yeah, there's a few clip shows across Superboy, but in my opinion, this one is the best of all of them. Although Cat and Mouse comes close,
Yep.
we'll probably do that one at some point in the next few weeks just for fun.
So for those of you just joining us, this is not a typical reaction video. You're not going to see any clips from the show in the episode. You will see a very highly filtered version up there. And it's very, very highly filtered. You can't even watch the episode with that. That is just
and
so
there's no audio from it either.
Yeah, just so you can keep in track with us. So I'm going to count you in with a 3, 2, 1 play, and then we're going to get ready. So if you're doing this on your DVD set, this is Season 3, Disc 3, and it's the third episode in the list.
Yep,
So Season 3,
episode
Disc
20.
3. Yep. So I'm going to count you in. 3, 2, 1, play.
So I'm trying to remember, was there a clip show in Season 2?
Yes, The Secrets of Super.
Oh, yeah, it was the Knick-Knack one, wasn't it? Of course it was.
Yep.
I always forget about that one.
Most people do.
It's a shame that Knick-Knack's only other episode, apart from his introduction, is a clip show.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe Gilbert Gottfried was too busy at a certain point.
It almost feels like they recorded both at the same time.
It probably did, to save time, Let's face it, the show didn't have the highest budget, so anything they can do like that, it makes sense,
Yep.
And here we go. And we managed to get through the intro without talking about it. That's nice. I'll tell you as well, though, I mean, this episode, I kind of, as I watch this, the only complaint I really have about this episode is I want to see the trials of other Superman villains in this show, I want to see, like, the trial of, like, Luthor and the trial of, I don't know, whoever. The trial of Knick-Knack, bring him back for a court case. Like, I think it would have been a really good format to do clip shows if they'd continued this going forward. But I guess it might have gotten a bit old at some point. But
yeah, I mean, you don't want to go. You don't want to go to that well too often, and I get that. But I mean, Metallo is probably one of only 2 characters from the show who you could do a clip show like this about.
Yeah. I've got to say as well, like, Metallo's lawyer is just the right level of scumbag. And Michael Callan is just wonderful as always.
Yeah, you don't get any better than him.
No, he's really playing up. You believe that he's in a weakened state and that he's, unable to stand. He looks like he's ill, which obviously is partly the makeup and the costuming. But it's also his performance. And also you've got to notice as well, and I noticed this earlier today when I was skipping through this episode. Right now, his hair is messy, it's grey, all of that. The moment he puts the kryptonite in his chest, his hair is black, it's slicked back. It's almost like the kryptonite takes control of his hair, and it's mad. Yeah. Just a really subtle way that I didn't pick up until recently. It's a really good way of showing, Although I'm surprised nobody noticed the kryptonite at this point.
I'm surprised that Superboy wasn't watching him.
Yeah.
And
also, like, he as soon as he feels kryptonite, he would recognize that's kryptonite. He's like, wait, there's kryptonite in this room, and Metallo is in this room. I need to keep an eye on Metallo. You know.
Yeah.
I've got to wonder though, where did Metallo get his henchmen from? He always was surrounded by, he had his babes, but he never had henchmen before.
Yeah,
I don't know.
although
Maybe he just
they
offered
do
to
kind of,
give them a lot of money.
yeah, they do kind of address that in issue number 22, that of the tie-in comic, that he was building this organization
Mm.
behind the
But
scenes.
yeah, look at his hair now though. It's all neat and slicked back. It's jet black. Like there's no grey in it now. Just a really, I think, clever and subtle way to show the effect the kryptonite is having on him, on a physical level. I think it's, I wonder how many people even spotted that the first time. I'm glad I finally did, because clearly
I'll
somebody
tell
did
you,
that on purpose.
I didn't until you pointed it out.
Clearly it was something done on purpose. So, kudos to the direction or the makeup department or whoever's decision it was to do that. Seriously, well done. I salute you. No, his costume is looking so awful now. It's falling apart. Like it never looked super expensive, but it literally looks like it's rotting at this point.
Yeah.
Also, didn't he have more upgrades than that in Super Menace? I guess
He
they
did.
removed some.
Yeah.
But I think he got those upgrades back in. Is it his next episode? Was it Threesome? The next one? Was he in that?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been a while since I've seen that episode, but I wonder when I watch it if he'll have the Super Menace upgrades back suddenly. I've got to say as well, I like the fact that the flashbacks have so much voiceover from Johnny Corbin. Roger Corbin, sorry. I've still got Metallo the Next Generation in my brain, But it gives it a storybook sort of quality. Like he's definitely an unreliable narrator, but not because he's lying, but just because of all the stuff he leaves out. I've always liked that scene. What a shame he killed that doctor, because I quite liked him. It was a fun performance. Like he was just clearly a lunatic, but yeah,
He's a fun lunatic.
yeah. But yeah, look at his costume. It literally looks like it's been rotting somewhere. Like it's been stuck in a box, and it's like the dampers got to it or something. And I do like that they've put sort of a dreamlike filter over the footage.
Yeah.
And for anybody watching, by the way, next week we're going to be doing our next Metallo Spotlight episode, where we're going to be going into this in depth. I'll probably be mentioning some of the stuff I've mentioned in this there too, but it will be a slightly shorter episode than the previous
Yep. He's
Spotlights.
missing his shoulder pads.
Yeah, all the shiny metal bits. When we saw him in court, it was almost like they were covered in fluff or something. Yeah, you can see just how much better the quality of his costume is here. Probably because it was made out of foam, and foam does degrade with time. Probably not helped by the fact that they're in Florida, which is both hot and damp. I imagine a lot of stuff degrades quickly there. I like those metal shoulder pads though, even though they probably just bought them from like a ice hockey supply shop or something.
Yeah.
I wonder if that was a studio note in Super Menace that Superboy picks up and sniffs the cigar, but he never goes to smoke it. I wonder if they were like, no, you can't have Superboy smoke on camera. The kids, it's not good for the kids. But the fact he still smells the cigar like he likes the smell, I think that's an
Yeah.
interesting little moment. I wonder what the explanation for that was behind the scenes.
Yeah, he really is an unreliable narrator.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, there's been no mention of red kryptonite just yet. Also, right at the start when he was talking about, he said he was just an ordinary guy and then he was in a car accident and they turned him into a freak. Like, he doesn't mention the fact that while he's driving that car, he is covered in the blood of the doctor that he just murdered. You know, we see it in the flashback, but, nobody in the courtroom knows that. At least not till Lana says her piece later.
Yeah, one problem that I have with the uh, the courtroom sequence, and I'm not saying anything bad about it. It's just there doesn't seem to be too much fear in the face of the jurors as they're in this courtroom surrounded by people with guns.
Yeah, that's one of the only complaints I really have about this one, to be honest. Still, maybe they recognise the fact that, he had an opportunity to escape and he chose not to because he wants to get his revenge. Maybe they figure, he's killing time, he's going to be caught any second now. Maybe that's why.
Yeah.
Still, though, I mean, he's got henchmen with guns and stuff trained on the jurors. But I guess you can't expect them to have that much of a big performance just purely due to the fact that the majority of the people in this scene are, supporting actors. They're extras, essentially.
Yeah.
If they don't say a word of dialogue, yeah, they weren't hired for their acting ability, let's say.
Now the people in the gallery, they have fear on their face. The one sitting behind
Mm.
Guana.
I imagine this was quite a quick episode to shoot, maybe a couple of days. Because let's face it, with clip shows, they never want to spend too much time on them because it kind of defeats the point of having a clip show at all. I love that. Metallo, tells the judge to get out of her chair, and but I love that he still actually is giving Lana a chance to defend him. I think Metallo is, he's having fun in this sequence.
One thing you can always say about Michael Callan is that even in the moments where he's chewing the scene, he's making it fun.
Mm. Even when he doesn't say anything, he makes it fun. Like that reaction just then as he was looking at Lana and he sort of done that sort of head move. The talent that this actor had, he didn't even have to say a word of dialogue to put the character across. And I know we've talked about this episode so many times, but man, I still feel bad for the Doctor.
Yeah, I mean he's
He was,
probably he got a family, you know.
but also he was nothing but nice to Corbin. He certainly didn't deserve this. If he came in and he was being like a really like rude, arrogant prick to him or something, just because he's a criminal, I'm not going to treat him like a human being. You'd kind of understand Corbin's, why he does what he does. He still doesn't excuse it, but it's a little bit more understandable.
Yeah, he didn't
But
come
this
in here
guy,
with the bedside manner of Dr. House. He
mm,
came in here with the bedside manner of Dr. Kildare, you know.
although part of me wonders, if the Doctor had come in and wasn't being so nice and was being very strict with him, he probably wouldn't have had access to the scalpel and that.
Yeah.
I think considering he's a criminal that just robbed a bank, I think having any kind of weapon within, within arm's reach is just a terrible idea. It's funny, like, part of me thinks that it would have been pretty cool if Lana ended up becoming an attorney after this, because she doesn't do a terrible job. Obviously, she would have to actually go to law school and all of that, but might have been an interesting direction to take Lana after this.
And this poor scientist.
I mean, he was a lunatic who found a guy who was in a car wreck and turned him into like a Frankenstein's monster type scenario, but like combined with a cyborg. And yeah, it's just weird. I swear though, his hair, I swear it looks like they've actually coloured it in as well to make it so it's not as thin as it was too.
Yeah.
The makeup department clearly put a lot of thought into this episode. I'm amazed that I never spotted that before. That line there, I'm going to definitely come back to when we do our spotlight.
Little overacting on the general's part with the screen.
Yeah. I mean, we talked about that in the last spotlight. I think it's even a little bit of overacting on Gerard's part, but you can kind of put that down to the fact that the red K is affecting him, maybe, and it's, you know. We talked about this scene before. It's a great scene. And Stacey's performance here is just fantastic.
Well, she's a fantastic actress,
True. Yeah, thinking about it, I can't think of a single episode of Superboy where she puts in a bad performance. She's always spot on as Lana. And there are a bunch of ways they could have stopped Metallo by this point, because I've just noticed, the bailiff is still there. I'm sure he has some sort of weapon he could use. I mean, there's no cybernetics in, Roger Corbin's skull.
Yeah.
His head is just as weak as anything else. Like, hit him with something hard, knock him out.
Yeah, but you also have to remember there's a room full of hostages and armed assailants.
True. Doesn't stop them from capturing him at the end, though. Like any minute now. I wonder if they just forgot about his shoulder pads.
It's either they forgot about him or the fact that they misplaced them.
Maybe.
Because remember, they did move production from the original sites.
Yeah, wasn't it originally
Universal
shot at
Studios.
Disney and then they moved to Universal? Or was it the other way around?
I think it was Disney first and then Universal.
You're right. Actually, it was, because I know the street set that they used was, the New York City backlot set that Universal has. I believe it's still there to this day.
So it probably just got misplaced in the move.
Yeah, we'll have to look at Threesome at some point soon and see if they return for that. But even in character, it would make sense if they removed some of those upgrades. They only gave him those upgrades so he could defeat Superboy, who was a menace at the time. So yeah, it would make sense at the moment they capture him, they would take those upgrades back.
Yeah.
What a shame though that all the foam pieces on his chest are just completely flaking off and breaking away. They just Part of me wishes that this episode, maybe if this episode wasn't a clip show, they would have actually taken the time to do some repairs on the costume. It's just not worth it for a clip show because the whole point is to save money.
Yeah, although how much would the foam pieces cost? That's the thing.
Like nothing. It's probably just the only thing that I think would have cost them money would be just the time that it would take for the costume department to do the work. And that would be the expensive bit of it, I imagine, especially with that costume because it's supposed to look like it was kind of built out of garbage. I love this old lady. The way she stands up to him. My favourite character in the episode outside of Metallo himself. There's a bit where she just, proper stands up to him. I just think it's great. Here we are. I just love that. Metallo, he's a bad guy, but if he's being shouted at by an old lady, he's helpless. He doesn't want to be seen punching an old lady, which I guess means that Roger, at least, he has some standards about the people he kills. But yeah, that old lady
Though
is
he did,
brilliant.
though he did punch that younger lady.
Yeah,
So he
yeah,
has standards, he just doesn't have many.
yeah. But no, that old lady is brilliant. My favourite bit of the episode. There's just something inherently funny about seeing Metallo getting yelled at by an old lady. You bad boy! You should be ashamed. Yeah, absolutely brilliant. And we see there in the end credits, there's a special thanks to Mark Jones, which I think makes sense because they used so many clips from the season that he was showrunner. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I like that very much. Yeah, a phenomenal clip show. Maybe the best one, although Cat and Mouse probably comes close for me. But yeah, I think this is the best clip show in Superboy. It reminds me a lot of the end of the first season of Stargate SG-1 as well, with their first clip show, where it was
Right.
just almost like the whole team was having to justify their actions across that whole first season. This episode very much reminds me of that, where I think
Yeah.
it's a similar level of quality.
Yeah,
How
I
about
mean
you?
this is a clip show that, it it's the framing story serves to justify putting in the clips. It's not
Yeah,
a clip show because we need to save some money. Oh, let's have a clip show. And then the
it was
framing
probably
story just
partly
like,
that. You know,
oh, I know it was, but it's not the typical clip show,
mm,
where not a lot of thought is put into it. You know,
yeah. A
this
lot of
one,
sitcoms have clip shows where there's no thought whatsoever. It's just like, oh, the characters are sitting on the sofa in their apartment, and they're like, oh, remember when this happened? Yeah, but you remember this, and that's literally all it is. It's
yeah,
just like this. It actually had a good reason, and I like that this is, I think, the first and only time in the show that we actually see a court case, like some actual consequences for the actions. Usually we just skip straight to, like, if we see the criminal, the
actually, there
next time we
is
see him
another
is in prison.
episode where we do see a courtroom experience.
Which one was that?
The end of A Wish for Armageddon.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah, when he gets the incredibly long sentence.
Yes.
Yeah, no, I remember that now. But I mean, this is the only one where obviously it was the entire premise for the episode. Like everything was built around it. It almost wouldn't even surprise me, if this episode at one point was just intended to be just the trial or something. It wouldn't surprise me. I doubt it, but it wouldn't surprise me. Um, yeah, I think this is just a really solid episode, and Michael Callan, as always, is great. I'm going to have to quickly skip back through now to when the kryptonite was removed from him. His hair is still black for the moment. I just wanted to see if his hair would go grey again. I guess not.
No.
Yeah, never mind. That would have been a fun detail, but can't be helped. Either way, though, just a phenomenal episode. I think the best clip show that Superboy did. And yeah, be sure to tune in again next week because we're going to get into this just in a little bit more detail. I doubt it will be as long as the previous Metallo Spotlight episode, but hopefully you'll enjoy it. It'll be it'll be fun to get into this in a little bit more detail. So we'll see you next week. Goodbye.